Number 54, we first need to establish continuity in the interval. So in this interval, we know that the log x is continuous, and same with these functions here. So the next thing then we do is we make it equal to 0, and we're going to establish that our f of x is going to be log x minus x plus root x. And we then establish the values at the endpoints. So the endpoint is x equals 2. And I plug it in, I'm going to get a positive value. In fact, it works out to positive 0.107. I do the same for the other endpoint, x equals 3, and I get a negative value, which happens to be negative 1.169. Again, the fact that it's the actual values is not relevant. We know that the graph is continuous. We know that it somehow has to connect. We don't know exactly how, but we know it has to connect between these 2 points, and if that's the case, we know that there must be a 0. So again, by the intermediate value theorem, since we've established continuity, we know that there must be a 0 that occurs in that interval. So for number 55, we're just going to make it equal to 0. This is a continuous function. E to the x is continuous. 2x is continuous in the interval from 0 to 1. And again, we just plug in our values. So we get e to the 0, so this is 1 minus 3 is negative 2. We plug 1 in, we get e minus 3 plus 2, so we end up with e minus 1, okay, which is positive. So if we were to sketch what this graph looks like, between 0 and positive 1, so positive 1 being here, that's going to be about somewhere around, somewhere around here maybe. Again, we established, since we have continuity in that interval, although we have no idea how it gets from that point to that point, we know that at some point it crosses the x-axis. And lastly, for this number 56, same thing, we're going to make it equal to 0. Establish that as our f of x. We're going to find the endpoints. In this case, endpoints were 1 and 2. So plugging in the values of 1 and 2, so we get f of 1 equals sine of 1 minus 1 plus 1, which is just sine 1. Okay, again, we know that that's going to be a positive value. F of 2 works out to be sine 2 minus 4 plus 2, that's going to be minus 2. We know that sine 2 is less than 1, so we know that this must be negative. Again, because we have, in the interval, we're going from positive to negative, there must be some value c in between 1 and 2 where the function crosses 0, therefore there must be a solution to that equation.